Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Reversing Glass. I'm Matt Rose, Field CISO at ReversingLabs. Today's episode is entitled, as you can see across the top of the board, How do you define software supply chain? And I have security off to the side, but chain security. So I kind of have a chain defined here. Please excuse the very poor artistic abilities, but I think we can make the point. So when you talk about software supply chain, there's links in a chain. And all those links kind of build together to create the chain itself. But when you talk about software supply chain, a lot of times people define software supply chains as they exist and the security associated with them by links in the chain, not by the complete chain itself. So we're going to start over here where, think about what is a major thing that is considered to be software supply chain security? Software composition analysis. The thing, software composition analysis, is really only looking at the open source code. So that's one link in the chain. A second place that people, try and think about software supply chain security is with, I'll use my little star, AST tools. So the SAS tools, the DAS tools, the IaaS tools. They say, hey, I've already bought these tools. They say that they do software supply chain security, but they really don't. This is really just looking at vulnerabilities around OWASP top 10. Again, there's a ton of other things that SAS and DAS and IaaS and those type of tools look for, but it really goes back to the OWASP top 10 under the covers. I mean, I've been doing this almost 20 years. It's amazing to me that people are still fighting and trying to find SQL injection and cross-site scripting, which has been on the OWASP top 10 for many, many years. The next one is really the tooling of DevOps. So people say that there's software supply chain security by securing the tooling, the code repos, the CI orchestration layer, the continuous delivery deployment, the IDE plugins, the IDEs themselves, the binary repositories. And they say that if you secure the tooling that actually builds the software, your software supply chain is going to be secure. Yes, that's important, but it is not a holistic and complete software supply chain solution. The last one that you hear about associated with software supply chain security is the firmware and IoT type space, where this is more about that embedded device space where you're basically putting firmware on a medical device, in a IoT enabled device. The firmware itself, verifying the firmware is there and the supply chain of where that firmware come from. Is there vulnerabilities in the firmware itself? But all of these things together, as you can see through the chain, are creating a complete chain, not just a link in the chain. SCA is one link with the open source code. AST scanning is another link associated with vulnerabilities around OWASP. The tooling itself, all important, but again, just a link in the chain. All of these have specific risks that are identified. The only way you have a holistic approach is to look at the artifact that is generated by this whole process, by the source code, the third-party code, the open source code, the COTS code, all those different things, the tools that build it. Because at the end of the day, you have a package that is compiled and then deployed. So you can do a great job, but if you don't know what to look for, you won't find it. So the only way to have complete software supply chain, not software supply link, is to identify, reverse engineer, and investigate the compiled package. Because you may do the best job of configuring all these tools across whatever type of application you're building, but if you don't know if something is a risk or it's a zero-day attack or a novel attack that's never seen before, the only way to identify that is to analyze the artifact of the complete chain, not just a link in the chain. I'm Matt Rose. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a great day, everybody.